Now, the Senate of Kenya passed 3 bills moved by Senator Crystal Asige. Now, that is the Kenya Sign Language Bill, the Persons with Disabilities Bill 2023, and the Startups Bill. That and much more on the program tonight. We'll be engaging her here on the show, trying to understand what this means for the people of Kenya and the milestones made as far as representation for the persons with disabilities in Kenya. Milestones we've made rather as far as representations for persons with persons with disabilities in Kenya is concerned. My name is Brian Amoai. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Josephine Ouko. But first, these are the top stories tonight. On the bottom line tonight, Kenyans to pay new high rates in the Social Health Insurance Fund deductions from July. Also tonight, more than 2,000 people from the Ma community protest attacks from bandits that have claimed the lives of at least 72 people since the year began. And Interior CS Kithure Kindiki has urged the 3 arms of government to join hands and fight corruption. Also tonight, we speak to nominated Senator Crystal Asige on legislating for persons with disabilities. All right, welcome to the program. Be sure to engage us on our socials. That is at Amoai Brian on X, at Lookuptv. The hashtag we're using tonight is the bottom line KE. We are also live on Facebook and on YouTube, where you can send your feedback and engage us and tell us exactly where you are watching us from and what you think about the stories we are running today, and also the conversation that we'll be having later on with nominated Senator Crystal Asige. Let's begin. Kenyans will pay new high rates in the Social Health Insurance Fund from July, Health CS Susan Humicha has announced. Now, as Mevin Getembe now reports, Kenyans eligible for National Health Insurance Fund will be required to wait up to 72 hours authorization to access shift services.
% of the current contributors will go down. I think that is something that we need to take away, because most people have been saying that we are increasing, but 56% of the contributors.
Kenyans will be required to dig deeper into their pockets to meet the terms and regulations under the newly Social Health Insurance Fund. The Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumincha announcing an increment of 1% of the SHIF salaried contributors, adding that SHIF registration will kick off as from the first week of March and is expected to last within 90 days.
Should the delegated committee approve of the regulations, should the House pass them, and they go to AG and get gazetted, from the first of week March, we are ready to start registration. And registration process will continue. And in the Act, we have provided that it continues for 90 days.
Under the Social Health Authority, a household whose income is not derived from salaried employment shall pay an annual contribution at a rate of 2.5% of the proportion. The amount payable every month by such an unsalaried household shall not in any case be less than 300 Kenyan shillings. The ministry responsible for correction services shall be liable as a contributor for persons in lawful custody, including children in conflict with the law and persons under police custody. A person traveling into the country will be required to have a travel health insurance cover, which will cover the entire stay period. Every person shall be entitled to access emergency treatment, which include pre-hospital care stabilization of the health status of the individuals arranging for referral cases. Kenyans will continue to pay for NHIF up to the end of next month, as the fund currently complies with Data Protection Act. This is according to NHIF Chief Executive Officer Elijah Wachira. Wachira, however, noting that the newly Social Health Insurance Fund deductions will begin on the 1st of July this year.
We got clarification, honorable members, from the CS that it is registration that will kick off in the first week of March. Access to service will be from 1st of July, when people start paying.
Wachira also noted that Kenyans eligible for National Health Insurance Fund will be required to wait up to 72 hours authorization to access SHIF services.
Is on pre-authorization that takes 72 hours. Reading the regulations carefully, the regulations are saying up to 72 hours. It is envisioned that emergency cases will be authorized real time. But for scheduled cases, where you're able to schedule next month, 2 months later, these are the ones that we have given ourselves 72 hours.
Maybe Ngetembe, Lookuptv.
Now, the Senate Committee on Roads, Housing and Transport has directed Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja to submit all the MOU documentation agreements within 14 days and court orders allowing the first lifting and resolutions of county government contracts. Now, the committee demanding that the process be halted to ensure due process is followed. Stanley Lugaria now reports.
Meet the documents that have not been submitted, the ones that have not reached us because of whatever reasons through email. As I had said earlier, I would request that you direct that those documents now be provided in hard copy, including the redevelopment plans for the estates.
The Senate Committee on Roads, Housing and Transport has further directed the Nairobi County boss within 30 days to submit the county government's detailed rent report in the years 1995 to 1998, calling on Sakaja to stop the renovations process until proper public participation for more than 13 estates is determined to clarify more about the agreement, accusing Sakaja of not submitting all the documents as required for the facelifting of the said areas, including California and Pumwani, with the committee feeling the absence of cooperation by Governor's office in terms of public participation.
At the end of this conversation, if this committee does not recommend a stopping of this project, we would have done big disservice to these people. Because you cannot just casually be saying tomorrow is groundbreaking, then you sit in the office and you're like, the chairman of Woodley has called, maybe I should go and leave.
So that the governor does not think that we are being unfair. So that maybe he can even tell us how much time he would need to provide all the documents, but also allow us time to scrutinize the documents. Then we can have an intelligent conversation.
In the 80s, you want receipts for rent payment from the 80s and those records. I am not sure of the veracity of the documents we will get. But if it is 2 weeks, we'll do our best. For Jericho Lumumba, for Maringo, I can make sure within 30 days you have all of those put together. That one I can make sure. Whatever is in the county records, you'll have it.
The committee disagreed with the views of the Nairobi boss regarding the ownership of the land in the areas being renovated, criticizing the governor's move to enter into an agreement with the residents of the relevant authority as being against the law.
The original plans for the estates were for development of social housing to cater for low-income earners. However, the new proposed development comprises 70% affordable for low-income earners and 30% for high-income earners, due to shortfall experience in high and middle income bracket as well. The designs.
Chair, if then the governor did not understand what plans he was supposed to submit, he should have asked.
No, Chair, I understood. That's why I answered. The original plan for the estate was for development also. That's my answer.
That is the document you are supposed to submit, Governor. Where were you reading that information from?
Yeah, from the question. But that is the response, Chair.
Governor,
the response was, this is a response which was sent.
Governor, you know better, honestly.
However, Sakaja has maintained a hard stance of the process being seamless, alluding there are no disputes or court orders that have a reason to stop the process. The governor insisting there is no ready ownership documentation.
So do we have any title deed that is ready? No, they are not ready, they are in the process.
Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
All right, thank you, Stanley Lugaria, for that particular report. Now, Security Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki has urged the three arms of government to direct concerted efforts towards the fight against corruption. Speaking at the National Council of the Administration of Justice function, CS Kindiki has sworn that the corruption level in the country is at all-time high and is fast becoming a threat to both the national security and the protection of fundamental human rights as enshrined in the Constitution. Henry Tende now reports.
While giving an address at the National Council on the Administration of Justice function, the Cabinet Secretary for Security Kithure Kindiki has cautioned the judiciary, the cabinet and the legislature not to relent in the fight against corruption, which he has termed as a major impediment to the realization of developments in the country.
If there is one item that frustrates the realization of this constitution is corruption. Clearly an unconstitutional conduct, and it strikes at the heart of the ideals of the people of Kenya as expressed in the current constitution. It is anti-people, and it is an existential threat to the sustainability of Kenya as a modern democracy. I dare say, from us in the national security space, we consider corruption as an existential national security threat.
CS Kindiki has furthermore warned that the corruption embedded in the three arms of government and at the county level is fast becoming a threat to national security and the enjoyment of the Bill of Rights enshrined in the Constitution if not addressed as a matter of urgency.
Corruption strikes at the heart of the Constitution because it undermines the realization of the Bill of Rights, especially the socio-economic rights that are so central to this constitutional order. So as we deliver services, as we become accountable individually and collectively to the people, the fight against corruption and upholding the Bill of Rights, if you ask me, are the two matters that form the crown jewel of the realization of a better country.
The CS has in the same breath called for a harmonious working relationship in the three arms of government, cautioning that sharp divisions that have been witnessed recently are undermining service delivery to citizenry.
Unless we look for ways of working together, no single arm, no single organ can deliver. And I can say that without fear of contradiction. Because the same constitution that has given you the massive powers you have has also donated some power to another arm of government, another agency, and it's deliberate.
He has called on Kenyans to respect the rights of others in the performance of their duties. Henry Tendanyula, Lookuptv.
Still on the security docket, Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki has responded to Samburu residents who are protesting undermining security operations in Samburu, saying the fight against livestock rustlers and violent bandits in the northern parts of the country requires unyielding focus and determination. Now, the protesters claim that the operations were bearing fruits. However, Kindiki has said time has come to change the operational interventions to seal the remaining gaps and secure the northern parts of the country.
At what has happened, as you're aware, it is not possible to have a police officer everywhere, all the time. And whenever we try our best to prevent occurrences, where occasionally, in rare cases, criminals succeed, we take action immediately. And we really regret what has happened here. We want to ask the people of Samburu to remain calm, and we want to assure them that we have gone back to the drawing board to plot and plan how we will seal the gaps to make sure that we don't have more loss of lives. Because it is true, we have criminals from neighboring counties who are terrorizing our people here in Samburu. But we also, in other counties, we have criminals coming from Samburu County who are terrorizing other Kenyans in other counties. So I would expect the leaders to condemn both. They must condemn foreigners, not really foreigners, but neighbors who are from neighboring counties, criminals from neighboring counties when they hurt the people of Samburu, but they must also condemn those few from Samburu County who venture into neighboring counties to also hurt other people.
All right, now that story takes us to our first break here on the Bottom Line KE. We want to take a short break, of course. When we come back, we'll be having that conversation with nominated Senator Crystal Asige on the bills that have been passed in the Senate and legislating for persons with disabilities. That coming in just a short while. Continue engaging us on our socials at Atamwai Brian, that is on X, at Lookuptv. We are also live on Facebook and on YouTube. So be sure to send your feedback on those particular social platforms. We'll be sampling some of it as we continue with the program tonight. Don't go too far. We will be back in a few.
Mambo ni mawili, kufikisha, kumwaga na kurudi. Kulala ni mwaka mpya.
Bua muka we mse. Nini mbaya? Wewe kwani wani vile dereva anaendesha gari vibaya, lazima tususe. Anaendesha gari na kwa simu the whole time hata angalia barabara. Iliyopita peke yake watu zaidi ya 3,000 walipoteza maisha yao barabarani kwa sababu ya tabia kama hizo. Hautatuangamiza tukiona.
Naomba msamaha, nitampeleka vizuri.
Si wameomba msamaha. Sasa twende tusafiri kwa mwendo wa aste.
Dere Smart hufikisha abiria salama. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na NTSA kwa ushirikiano na European Union.
Are you a junior secondary school, a college, a TVET institution or a university?